I'd like to call to order the September 23rd, 2024 regular City Council meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
City Clerk Deaton, if you'll let the roll call show that Councilmember Hanson and Councilmember Dilg are absent this evening, and I'll look for a motion to excuse Councilmember Hanson and Councilmember Dilg. Councilmember Kurtzwell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move to excuse Councilwoman Lisa Dilg and Councilman Alex Hansen from tonight's meeting.
I'll support.
A motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Moving on to approval of the City Council minutes from September 9th, 2024. Councilmember Mosier.
I will move the minutes as presented.
I'll support. A motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. No bills this evening. We'll move on to approval of the agenda. Before we do that, inasmuch as two of the council members are absent this evening, I did speak with City Manager Zelnick about rescheduling his evaluation to the next City Council meeting on October 14th, and he's in agreement to do that. So I would be looking for a motion to approve the agenda as revised and a second. Councilmember Bogert.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda as revised.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Moving on to the approval of the consent agenda for this evening. On the consent agenda, we have the Downtown Kids Trick or Treat and the Pup Paw Parade. So I'll be looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda. Councilmember Kurtzwell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move the consent agenda as presented by the mayor.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. So open the floor now for public comment. Anyone wishing to address the city council, please come to the microphone, state your name and address for the city clerk. And we have a 2-minute time limit to address the council.
Good afternoon.
You can raise that up if it'd be more convenient for you there.
Good afternoon, Council. My name, for the record, is Kenneth Michael Barnhill, and I live at the address of 264 Winchester Street. I would like to put a formal complaint in before the Council that I have been dealing with harassment and bias from the local police department. I put in a formal complaint in January. I cannot think of the date at this time. That was not handled. The matter in question in January was dismissed, and I have before me dismissal papers on the court for that proceedings, if anybody from the council would like to see that. And on the 13th of this month, my property was stolen from my vehicle without court order and in violation of that dismissal by the police. I would just like the council to be aware of this formal complaint against the city at this time. And I would like, hopefully, for the city to resolve this by investigating the matter in the fraternal order.
And is that all?
Yeah, that is all at this time.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Would anybody in the council like to see
Oh,
the
excuse me,
documents?
it's just one-way conversation. We don't discuss it. We listen to what you have to offer, and we put it on the record.
Does the clerk need to see the documents I'm speaking of at this time?
If you have something that you want to provide her, I guess you could certainly do that.
Thank you. I'm sorry for.
Oh, no problem at all. No problem at all. Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address the council? Okay, at this point, we'll close public comment. Is this going to take a while over there? Lisa, do we need to do it offline? No problem at all. Thanks so very much. Moving on to a discussion of downtown with DDA Director Nate Mack.
There we go. All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, council. A couple of brief things for you this evening. First of all, I'm happy to announce that the Doctors of Physical Therapy, which is 106 South Lafayette, opened last week, and the Wellness Strip, which is also in that building in the other suite, closer to the Farmers Market lot, is going to be opening on Friday, October 4th. The Wellness Strip is going to be a medical spa, so you could go there and get IV treatments, I believe some weight loss shots, stuff like that. So excited to get them open in downtown. That building has had a lot of work done on it over the last few years, and it'll be good to have them open. The farmers market over the last couple of weeks has been going pretty well. Unfortunately, for the art event on Saturday, September 14th, we did not close the roads. The market manager made the judgment call with some last-minute cancellations at the market that if we were to close the road, the street would kind of look empty with the lack of vendors that were there. So she decided to keep it open for that date. With the last DDA board meeting, the board elected to join America in Bloom, which is a group, a nonprofit organization that is dedicated to community beautification through basically plants and different things along those lines. Flowers, plants, trees, environmental and lifestyle enhancements. So they'll be coming to town next year, I believe, to do an assessment of the downtown area and kind of provide us with some ideas and tips on how we can improve the overall aesthetic features of the downtown. We still have not heard on the liquor license application for the Old Lake Street Tavern or the Old Third Monk. I spoke with the Old Third Monk owner on Friday, and he said he hadn't heard anything yet from the state. So he's hoping within the next couple of weeks. I know the commission meets 2 times a week. The Liquor Commission meets Tuesdays and Thursdays, so hopefully it'll be soon. So that's it for me. If anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Any questions for DDA Director Mack? Councilmember Kurtzwell?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. 2 points on the DDA. I had an opportunity to go down to the DDA. I always have a good time when I go down there. You know, it was just really good. And I ran into an individual who apparently came to the farmer's market late this summer when there were a lot of cancellations. Does that ring a bell? There were a lot of cancellations because she saw a lot of empty spots.
Yeah.
And here's the thing that I just wanted to address to you that she addressed to me. You know, not everybody can make it to the farmer's market all the time, and it just happened that that was when she was able to do it. You know, it was her kids were getting ready for school, and, you know, all the vacations were behind, and weddings were done, so she had time to go to the farmer's market. And she was pretty disappointed in how it looked in terms of the vendors that were missing. Her comment to me was, if they don't have that kind of commitment to this community, to come to every farmer's market, then why don't you just look for other vendors? So if somebody is consistently not coming, maybe put them on a substitute list for next year and look for new vendors that will make a commitment to the city. Because that's how she felt. I mean, she just felt that these individuals, it doesn't matter what the reason is, they weren't there, weren't making that commitment to the community when she was making a commitment to the community by coming to the farmer's market. But that's her perspective. So she asked me if I would please let you know about that and maybe take that back to the DDA. I don't know who these people are. I don't really care. I haven't asked you who they are, so I don't know who these vendors are. But that was a very interesting perspective from somebody who only once this year came down to the farmer's market, and the one time she comes, it's not there. But I assured her that, you know, it's very well attended and everybody's here, don't know what's going on. You know, I don't want to be out there saying why, but, you know, that's for somebody else. That's somebody else's story to tell. And also, I was in Duovino this weekend, and it sounds like that liquor license may not be ready until sometime in January. I mean, I think he said almost 2025. He doesn't know what the problem is, but, you know, I mean, he's trying really hard,
Yeah.
so, but just thought I'd fill you
All right,
in.
yeah, thanks for passing that along. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thanks.
Councilmember Bogert?
Just, sorry, drew a blank. Just following up on the farmer's market. I know that vendors are assigned to specific spaces, but I wonder if there should be some consideration given to consolidating the vendors when there's a light showing, because when I was there on Saturday, there was a booth here, there was a booth here. There were big gaps between the booth. It would be nice if on the second lot, all of the booths could be moved closer to the street and make it a little bit more solid.
Okay, I can talk to the market manager about that, and see what she says, but she does assigns the spots prior to, obviously, the market day, so
Yeah.
people know where they're supposed to set up.
Yeah.
And sometimes she gets those, last minute cancellations where somebody will, and we can maybe say, maybe you guys fill in, if there's gonna be an open space, you can, move a spot ahead or something like that, so, yeah, I'll pass that along too.
Thank you.
Councilmember Kivel?
I think that's a good idea, consolidating in the event that she's got time to make that happen. But if she's got a plan over already and she doesn't know who's not going to show up quite yet, that might end up being a problem. You had talked about the flowers for the downtown. So is this a DDA expenditure?
Yep.
So are they going to do like a design for it and all that kind of stuff too?
So what, they have their information they have online is pretty good, but I saw a presentation, and what they do is they kind of provide you with information on different plants that would look good and do well in your community, or like given the conditions, the soil conditions, all the different things, the sunlight and all that. I believe they're horticulturalists that come in and do the report. So yeah, they'll be able to give us some good information. I think there'll be two of them, and they'll be here for like 2 or 3 days, I think, so.
So is this in the beddings around the parking lot and things, or?
I think just the storefronts, the light poles around the parking lot, yeah.
So you're gonna have to have containers and things then, right?
Yeah,
To be able to
probably.
hold-
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, but they'll provide a full
They're not
report,
plantings,
and we'll have access to their experts to kind of help
Oh, that's
us
good.
with that. So, it's a relatively low cost to join it, and I think, it'll be good. We get the opportunity to submit for some national awards too if we do a good job, so we get recognition that way. And I think it'll just be a nice way to make the community look better.
Probably look good even if we don't get a
Yeah, definitely.
recommendation there, so, thank you.
Councilmember Mosier?
Just back to the farmer's market thing, in the south lot, we have some seasonals there that can't move, like Cardinal Farms.
Sure.
They take up 5 spots, Raisky Farms takes up 2, and then you have the honey people that are there. So that's part of the problem of why it looks so sparse down there, is that's where they have to be because they bring their vehicles in. I know Raisky Farms has a refrigerated vehicle because he brings in frozen meats and whatnot. And the same with Cardinal Farms, they bring in their bus. So that, that adds to it. But yeah, she probably could condense them a little bit more to the front. But you're gonna have those seasonals that they have to be there. We can't really move them. It's not feasible for them to be able to sell their product. A lot of the problem also is, even though we've changed the cancellation notice period, people will still wait till Friday night and tell her. Some people even wait till Saturday morning, which there's no way she can get anybody in there. And to redo the whole map, it's just not really possible. I mean, she's doing the best she can with what she has to work with, so there's stuff we still need to work on, but, that's part of the problem with that south lot. That's it.
Thank you.
Can I say one thing, Mr. Mayor?
Sure,
Yeah,
absolutely.
so, despite all the talk of, the problem of having vendors that are canceling, and it's more than we'd like, the farmer's market, I want everybody to know, is still doing really well.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
so I don't want out there that, our farmer's market's bad, it's spiraling out of control or something like that. Diana's doing a great job. Where we've come from even last year or 2 years ago,
Yep.
now we're more than double the size that we used to be. So the farmer's market's still doing very well. We just have a couple of kinks that we need to work out, so.
We just want to maximize the opportunity. that's
Exactly,
all.
yep.
Just, also later in the season, like October, you're gonna watch vendors drop off. Sometimes it's, you know, the weather dependent. So maybe those markets will be a little lighter, so maybe next year we can try to plan on it and maybe keep it just to one parking lot.
Yeah.
If it looks like it's gonna roll that way. But not if those certain vendors are gonna be there, like Cardinal Farms and Riceke's. Because there's no way that they can get their vehicle back there, and they have to have them because they keep refrigerated product in it. But it might be something to look at, because October does drop off. It
Yeah.
gets a little bit cold.
It does.
So, but, you know, Diana is doing an awesome job, and she's probably the best manager we've had in a very long time.
Quick question, Nate, when does the winter farmer's market start ballpark?
That will start in November. I'm not sure the exact date.
Okay, sometime in November?
Yeah.
Okay.
Either, I can't remember when.
Oh, that's close enough. I just wasn't certain whether it was December or we waited till after the first year.
Yep.
Just didn't know. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving on to the fire chief report this evening with Chief Thorrington.
All right, good evening. I'll try to speak a little louder this time in the microphone. So, we are at 874 instances as of this evening. Tyrell Electric has installed most of the new LEDs in the station. There's one bank in the apparatus bay they have left to do probably tomorrow. They'll be buttoned up. Ferguson Roofing was there, and they buttoned up today. They're complete with a new roof, so we're not leaking anymore, which is pretty amazing. And the file of life, the red cards we showed you last council meeting, they've been distributed at Colonial Acres quite a bit. We've got a bunch folded up, ready to go now at the station, so if anybody needs them, they can call us. I know we talked last meeting about possibly having it at the Pumpkin Fest. I don't think we want to hand them out there. They're about $1.70 a piece, and they're very specific if somebody has a medical condition. So I don't want them just handed out and then thrown away because they're not needed. So we'll save them for specific needs, but if anybody needs them, they can call us and get them. Same with smoke alarms and CO alarms. We've got a lot of those left, so anybody wants those. And then we had a structure fire or a stove fire that was going pretty good around Evergreen Court tonight. The homeowner actually put it out with a extinguisher, so it smoked the house up pretty good. We took the stove out for him and used a fan to vent the house. So, but fortunately, they had an extinguisher. It could have gotten pretty ugly. So that's all I have.
That's great. Any questions for Chief Thorrington? Thanks a lot, Chief. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Moving on to the police chief report with Chief Bakke.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Council. Just got a couple of things tonight. So I know we talked about last meeting in reference to the pedestrian crossings downtown. So Paul and I and Jeff looked into this extensively and got some information for you. Right now, what we did is we put something on Facebook advising individuals, again, to be aware of the crossings, what to do and what the law is. We put it on our Facebook. Contacted TIA, spoke with them and gave them our questions in regards to how to make it safer. He came back with, it looks like that the signage and the lights are pretty good. We had some foliage that was over some of the lights. DPW cut them back to make them a little bit more brighter. They're also going to be looking at maybe different shades of yellow, either orange or bright yellow, to bring out that color. We're also going to implement a sign, basically, when you're coming off Whipple Street, that to watch for pedestrians while turning. So that sign will be right in their face as they're coming up to Lafayette. They'll be able to see that sign and say, okay, I might have to look. So it's just another piece of information for the driver as they're entering that intersection to go ahead and make sure that they're watching for pedestrians. There was a look back 5 years on accidents over there. There was one pedestrian accident last August, no injuries. It was, again, turning, same incident. So we're hoping the additional signage plus cutting back the foliage will help, again, people to keep their heads on a swivel and making sure that the drivers are doing their due diligence. And then we've got some more challenge coins to sell for the monument fundraiser. We're still not there yet, but we're getting there. So I'd just like to say that anybody wants to come down and buy a challenge coin for $25, all the proceeds goes to the monument fund. And if you have any questions.
Any questions for Chief Bakke? Okay, so a couple things, Chief.
Yep.
So previously, when we were selling the challenge coins, folks could get both, one for the fire department, police department, over at the or the police department. Are you setting it up the same way this time?
Yeah, I'm going to talk to Chief Thornton and to get some of theirs, see how many they have. We just got a shipment in last week, so we're going to plan on start selling them. But yes, you can buy them from both of them once I get them from Chief Thornton.
Okay. Also, relative to the discussion on the crosswalk, there was a question regarding, and you and I talked about this previously, the crosswalk signal by the middle schools, the old one has been there now. The DPW went down there, they thought they had the problem fixed, found out later it wasn't fixed, so they've made the move. They're ordering replacements, they're gonna replace them with units that are similar to the ones downtown.
My understanding is that's correct. Now, when I talked to Jeff Archie, I think he said the north one was working, but the south, they're waiting for batteries for that one, so I was.
He said he was, when
Yeah.
he spoke this morning, said he was gonna replace the whole.
Oh, the whole thing, okay.
thing with units that are similar to the ones that are downtown. Because I know that people have been mentioning that
Yeah.
that it was out, and I said, they just checked them, they just fixed them, and sent a picture, and it's like, guess it's not working. Okay.
Right, yeah, there was issues with the batteries in the older ones, so, yeah, it works for me if it.
They didn't have any at the Smithsonian, or what?
They did not. No. Not that I know of anyways.
Yeah. So the other thing, if you could, just a little update on where we stand on the first responders monument.
So right now, we had a meeting, it was last week. They are starting to build the structure. I know that they looked, there was an issue with the footings, and I think they corrected that issue. And right now, there's some money that's already been allocated to Superb Fabricating to get that started. So we still got a few more thousands of dollars to get to raise, but we're getting real close. So, but they are starting the project, and then once, I know they were talking about the roof part of it. They were going to contract that out to bring down the cost, and they were dealing with another company. I can't remember what the name of the company is, but so we're working on that as well. So they're in the beginnings of starting to build the monument itself. So
Okay, well, that's great news.
that's good.
All right. Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Moving on to unfinished business, property maintenance ordinance, second reading. City Manager Zelnick?
This item was on the agenda and approved for first reading at the September 9th City Council meeting. The City Council agreed to make changes to the ordinance pertaining to the definition of noxious weeds and also adding the penalty to be a municipal civil infraction. I've attached the updated ordinance for review. You have the property maintenance code pertaining to your property maintenance, existing Chapter 98 vegetation, Article 2 weeds. Possible courses of action tonight to approve or not approve for second reading to amend the Chapter 18, Article 3 Property Maintenance Code 18-112.
Councilmember Bogert?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to approve for the second reading to amend Chapter 18, Article 3, Property Maintenance Code 18-112.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Bogert, second by Councilmember Mosher. Do we have any discussion? City Clerk Deaton, if you'll lead us in a roll call vote on this?
Kibble,
Yes.
Moser,
Yes.
Bogert,
Yes.
Kurzweil,
Yes.
Kennedy.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to new business, number one, the purchase of 2 Kaiser rotary blowers for the grit chamber at the wastewater treatment plant. Mr. Beeson.
Thank you. Good evening, Council, Mr. Mayor. The Southline Water and Wastewater Department is seeking approval to purchase 2 Kaiser rotary blowers. These are specifically the grit chamber model 44 or BB52C. They come complete with an outdoor rating and sound enclosures. The existing blowers installed in 2003 have deteriorated due to exposure to the corrosive gas from the grit chamber. To mitigate this issue, the new blowers will be relocated to minimize that exposure to those gases. This purchase is included in this year's budget under line item 592-557-972 in the amount of $44,476 from Kennedy Industries. Supporting documents, I've attached the quote, the picture of the old blowers, and a schematic of where the new location will be. This is a proprietary equipment provided by Kennedy Industries. Possible courses of action would be to approve, not approve purchase of the two Kaiser rotary blowers, model BB52C from Kennedy Industries for the grit chamber located at the wastewater treatment plant in the amount of $44,476 under line item 592-557-972.
And just as a note, Mr. Beeson, this is a sole source provider because,
This is, yes, it's a sole source provider for this Kaiser blower.
because they're the only
They're
supplier
the only
that
ones
offers
that supply this. So the previous supplier no longer will allow us to purchase from there. So Kennedy is the sole rep for that, at least in this area.
Okay, very good, thank you. Councilmember Kurtzwell?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move to waive the City of South Lyon Code of Ordinance approval for purchases or contracts, competitive bidding for purchases or bidding because no advantage to the city will result from competitive bidding.
Councilmember Bogert?
Second?
I have a motion from Councilmember Kurtzwell, a second from Councilmember Bogert. City Clerk Deaton, if you'll lead us in a roll call vote on this one?
Kurzweil,
Yes.
Bogert,
Yes.
Mosier,
Yes.
Kivel, Kennedy.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. Councilmember Kurtzwell?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move to approve the purchase of two Kaiser rotary blowers for the grit chamber in the amount of $44,476 under line item 592-557-972.
Councilmember Kivel?
I'll support.
Thank you. We have a motion from Councilmember Kurtzwell, second from Councilmember Kivel. Any discussion? City Clerk Deaton, if you'll lead us, I'm sorry, Councilmember Bogert.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. When I looked at the proposal, the price did not include installation. Is that a separate?
That is, we're going to do most of that installation
Okay.
because it is alike. So we can do most of the plumbing, piping, and some of the electrical. If there's anything we can't do, that will be separate.
Okay.
So I did budget for that. There is money left in that budget line item, just in case we need to do anything that we can't handle ourselves, so.
Thank you.
City Clerk Deaton, I'm sorry, Councilmember Kivel.
Could you let us know about what the turnaround for getting the pieces or the equipment is?
22 to 26 weeks.
So I hope we can nurse that one that's in there right now.
Yeah, it's not unusual these days for us to see that lead time on a lot of our pumps and
Mm-hmm.
so.
Any further discussion? City Clerk Deaton, if you'll lead us in a roll call vote on that?
Mosier,
Yes.
Bogert,
Yes.
Kivel,
Yes.
Kurzweil,
Yes.
Kennedy.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you very much. Moving on to new business number 2. Purchase and installation of 2 Train HVAC commercial rooftop units for the wastewater treatment plant.
The South Line Water Wastewater Department requests approval for the purchase and installation of 2 train rooftop units, a 17.5-ton unit and a 7.5-ton unit. These new units are needed to replace the aging HVAC units at the wastewater treatment plant. This purchase can be funded through line item 592-557-972 for a total amount of $45,898. After reviewing 3 quotes, we recommend a purchase and installation from Accurate HVAC. I have the supporting documents of the quote from Accurate HVAC and a quote from Croft and a quote from Heinonen. Possible courses of action would be to approve or not approve the purchase and installation of the 2 Train HVAC commercial rooftop units from Accurate HVAC for the wastewater treatment plant in the amount of $45,898 from line item 592-557-972.
Councilmember Bogert?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to move to approve the purchase and installation of 2 Train HVAC commercial rooftop units from Accurate HVAC for the wastewater treatment plant in the amount of $45,898.
I'll second.
Have a motion from Councilmember Bogert, a second from Councilmember Mosier. Do we need to, I notice that the account number isn't in the motion. Do we need to add that, City Clerk Deaton?
I don't have that account number.
Well, the account number's
Yes, it's right
above in
above
the
it.
course of action. We can just have them
Oh.
verbally add that if you would.
Yes.
Okay, so if you want to read that with the account number that's above 592-557.
Do I need to?
Just read the
rescind?
motion again. Oh, no. We'll withdraw the
Okay.
previous motion. Go ahead and just say that.
I'd like to make
No, we withdraw the previous motion.
I'd like to make a motion to withdraw the previous motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, now go ahead. Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the purchase and installation of 2 Train HVAC commercial rooftop units from Accurate HVAC for the wastewater treatment plant in the amount of $45,898 coming out of line item 592-557-972.
I'll second.
I have a motion from Councilmember Bogert, a second from Councilmember Mosier. Do we have any further discussion? City Clerk Deaton, if you'll lead us in a roll call vote on that one?
Bogert,
Yes.
Kibble,
Yes.
Moser,
Yes.
Kurzweil,
Yes.
Kennedy.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Moving on to new business number 3, priority waste status. City Manager Zelnick.
City of South Lyon waste hauling contract was assigned to Priority Waste June 30th, 2024. Since that time, the performance for regular pickup of garbage, recycling, and yard waste has been inconsistent. Tonight, we have 2 representatives from Priority Waste in attendance to address our concerns and update us regarding the transition in taking over waste collection in our community. To give you a better understanding of our current waste hauling contract, I've included some of the prior agreements, assignments, and our contracts that were previously brought before City Council. On Thursday morning, I received an additional communication from Priority Waste, which was sent to all RSOC communities back in August, which was in response to previous communication sent, requesting them to address our inconsistent service. I've attached a resolution consenting to the assignment of waste hauling services agreement to Priority Waste dated June of 2024, the waste hauling extension agreement dated November 2021, the solid waste GFL amendment and extension of solid waste contract in March 2018 with yard waste recycling collection and disposal agreements of March 2013, and a response from Priority Waste on September 9th, 2024. There really is no courses of action tonight unless City Council wishes to make one, but I do have in attendance Sam Carmagno as well as Andrea Cruz to be happy to answer questions or go over some of the improvements and things that have been made to their fleet and their equipment since taking over the contract in June of this year.
Okay. If you'd like to approach the podium and state your name and address for the city clerk.
Thank you so much. My name is Andrea Cruz. I'm the Chief Sales Officer here at Priority. I live at 5880 Hollow Corners Road in a little town called Dryden, Michigan.
Sam Carmagno, 17441 Merriman Road in Livonia.
Floor is yours. I guess City Manager Zelnick says you have a bit of a presentation discussion on how we're going to get to back to the level of service that we came to know and expect, when GFL was in charge of waste hauling. I know it's been about 12 weeks since you assumed the contracts for the city and obviously 75 other communities, as well as an unknown number of individual contracts for sole homeowners. I know from a personal perspective in that 12 weeks, my trash, yard waste, recycling has been picked up actually two times on the day it was scheduled. So I guess myself and the other council members are probably interested in what is the path forward, because I know that you've had challenges based on what's been printed in the news, number of vehicles that weren't roadworthy, et cetera. So what's the plan to bring us back on track?
I can start. So I wanted to thank you all for your patience. I know the transition has not been ideal for everyone, and we like to say that the month of July is the longest years of our life. We were not anticipating the fleet that we got in as poor as shape it was. We have done a tremendous amount of work in the last couple months with outside repair companies, you know, hiring additional mechanics and doing everything that we can possibly to get the fleet back in shape, in addition to renting trucks from all across the Midwest to try to get us caught up. I will happy to say today that we started, was probably the first day since July 1st that we started with the actual number of trucks compared to the routes that we had. So the outside repairs are working. I want to highly commend our maintenance staff, and, you know, Sam runs the operations crew. We have dedicated people. It has not been ideal for our employees either. You know, they've been working 7 days a week since July 1st and probably before that when they were GFL. So I wanted to personally say thank you. I know that it has not been ideal, and we talked about the transition. We knew that it was going to take about 90 days. We're almost to the 90 days, and we see a light at the end of the tunnel. One thing that is going to be coming to you that we're excited about is the priority way was to have cameras on the trucks. And we tried to put cameras on the trucks before the transition actually happened, and unfortunately they were taken off. So your trucks in your community will be cameraed probably by the end of this week, beginning of next week, which will give visibility for many reasons. With those cameras, you will get your own personal logistic driver coordinator, which will help on the streets visually happening live time. So if a resident thinks that they were missed or they're calling to see when their compost we picked up, we will be actually have the cameras in our GPS systems that will help. So your service is getting better, but it's going to be great once we get those cameras in place.
Yeah, just to reiterate, I mean, the truck situation has gotten significantly better. I know we are in a real challenging spot out here a couple weeks ago, the week before the holiday, the week of the holiday. Last week was a much better week. I think probably the first week we had all the equipment out in South Lyon, and this week too, or today. So today we were fully complete. Expect to be tomorrow and going forward.
Okay.
We got a lot of rental trucks in the region too to help out with this going into yard waste season. So we are keeping those till the end, till December. That will make a big difference in keeping you guys up to date and current.
Well, we certainly appreciate you coming here to address the council and obviously the residents of the community, because you know, they've been frustrated, but we understand that there's bound to be a few bumps in the road going along. I'm delighted to hear that the bulk of the fleet has been restored to full operational condition and everything, and that's encouraging that we should be looking at regular service going forward. Any questions for the representatives from Priority Waste for the council members? Councilmember Kurtzwell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a couple of issues that I just sort of wanted to bring to your attention. First of all, let me start from the beginning. You made an offer, or somebody came to you and you purchased some assets from GFL. So to me, that sounds like you probably had an asset purchase agreement in place. So you were buying assets, which were the trucks, the accounts receivables. Every asset purchase agreement that I've worked on, and the two that I'm working on now, there provides a due diligence period in which you can go in, do your due diligence, ascertain whether or not the assets are in the condition that were represented to you, because the seller has to make certain representations as to the quality of the assets in which they are delivering, including there's no liens on any of the equipment. It is beyond my comprehension, as somebody who does this for a living, how you could have purchased this company or these assets from GFL and not have known during your due diligence period that the condition of some of these trucks were not what you expected. The comment was the fleet was not what we expected. Well, if the fleet was not what you expected, then why did you go through with the purchase until those assets were brought up to what your expectation was? That is what I don't understand, because I represent buyers and sellers. So I would have said to you, if I was your attorney, I would have said, we're not going forward until this fleet is 90% blah, blah, blah. We're not going forward until the trucks are maintained and proving running, blah, blah, blah. So to hear that you went forward with the transaction, and then it sounds like you learned that the fleet was not what you expected. To me, that's saying, where was your due diligence period? For legal reasons, I understand you don't want to answer the question. I'm just letting you know, I am scrutinizing what happened in this transaction. And I'm not completely saying that, maybe some things could have been done differently to prevent what has happened. So that's my first comment. My second comment is, is that I was a little bit concerned when I had heard early on that drivers didn't even have maps. I mean, that was coming from your office. Somebody at your office was saying, well, we don't even have maps. We're doing the best we can. And once again, this is a due diligence. How can you buy an asset if you did not sit down and meticulously go through what those routes were going to be? Did you have all the information you needed? If you didn't have the maps to deliver the services, then why did you even go through with the sale until the seller had provided you what you needed? I'm just letting you know, I have issues with how this transaction went about. Next, whenever you buy and sell, there are always the transition periods, and I want to thank you for the efforts that you're making. But you also need to understand the toll it has taken on our community and some of our employees in the city. We have a city manager sitting here who's been under attack. And I hope that you apologize to him, because this man did nothing. He was not part of your negotiations. He was not part of anything that transpired. But he took the heat. And I mean, he took it big time. And there's some people in this city that I think that you owe an apology to for how this transaction occurred. Because there's a lot of people in this town that took a lot of crap, including city council members, including people that would knock on my door and say, what's going on here? We took the heat for you guys. And I'll tell you where I'm at. I'm just letting you know. I asked the city manager, when is this contract up? Maybe we need to do an early bid on it. So that's just me. That's just me. I'm only one voice. I have not talked to anybody else on city council about my opinions. They know I don't do that. This is me. I've listened to the community. I was down at the farmer's market. And take a guess what came up. Priority. The garbage. So you not only have to get this back on track, but you've got a big PR job you need to do out there too. And I think I would start with our city manager. Thank you.
Anyone else? Councilmember Kivel.
I'm grateful that you guys are taking it seriously. I know that 12 weeks is a long time, but it's a big, big bunch of trucks that you guys had to end up getting upgraded. So my concern is I don't want to end up seeing any reasons why you can't fulfill what your obligations are to us. You need to stop telling us why we can't do it and just make sure that everything gets happening, all right? We need that, so.
May I say something?
Sure.
So we did do the due diligence for the fleet back in May, and I will tell you that between May and when we took possessions of them, there was no preventative maintenance or really anything done to that fleet after we did the due diligence. The reason why we went ahead and did it is because we realized within about 60 days, the 73 communities or 750,000 residents probably would not have trash service at all because there were no trucks to be performed. The other haulers in this market did not have trucks. So we went ahead and did it because we were concerned about the trash problem that the state could probably have. I've been in this industry for 30 years. I've never seen anything like it. And Paul, I do apologize. I know that you have, and all of you have probably taken, I live in the communities that we service too, and I know what it's like to be stopped by a resident and asked about the trash. I get personal Facebook messages and everything else, so I do apologize for that. I will say that I've been in this business for 30 years. I was born in the business. I love the business, and you know, I see a bright future for Priority. And, you know, the things that our employees have done, our company that have done to make sure that the trash and compost recycling has been off the ground it's nothing short of a miracle, quite honestly. We were delivered not a nice bag of goods, but, you know, I don't like to go back, and, you know, I only like to move forward. Sam talked about the rental trucks. The original plan was not to have the rental trucks. We did this asset purchase so we wouldn't have to rent trucks anymore. Getting trucks in this industry is really hard. That's one of the reasons why we decided to do that. And so we are committed to keeping those for as long as we need. You know, we anticipate through definitely compost season. We want to get through that. And, you know, buy us some time. You know, we can park some trucks and, you know, after compost season, you know, really work on them. When I tell you every vendor in, I think, Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, the outside heavy truck report has one of our trucks in there, if not multiple. So we've been bringing emergency fleet maintenance crews in and just doing what we possibly could. We, you know, meet actually daily on this subject, and we are committed to making it better. And I do apologize once again, but I really think that we are on the home stretch.
Anyone else? Councilmember Kivel?
We're going to hold your feet to that fire, so.
I understand.
You need to perform. All right.
Councilmember Bogert?
I'd just like to say my trash and my recycling was picked up today, so thank you.
Good job, Sam.
Again, I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate, you know, putting your nose to the grindstone, as the saying goes, and working through the issues. So, last week was, like I said, the first week in a long time that all three forms of trash, recycling, yard waste were picked up on the day it was scheduled. So it's definitely a step in the right direction. And, you know, Sam knows what we were used to when GFL had the contract, and he knows what we want to get back to going forward. So we're counting on that. So again, you have anything else for us? So again, we appreciate you coming to address the issue. Appreciate even more getting those trucks out on the road, and today and tomorrow picking up the trash as scheduled. So
Thank you for having us.
thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes, Council.
Moving on to discussion of the budget this evening. Any questions regarding the budget this evening? We'll open the floor for public comment. Again, if you'd like to address the board, you have 2 minutes. State your name and address for the city clerk.
How y'all doing? It's a pleasure. It's my first time showing up to a city council, and an empty room is a good sign that you are doing the right thing around here, just so you know. My name's Ken, and I'm Kenny's dad.
Excuse me, Ken, you can raise that up so you're not, you know, having to bend over there, bud.
We're not, we don't get out much, so this stuff here is, like UFO stuff.
There you go.
I just wanted to address, he missed a couple issues that we were having with these tickets. You know, he's got an older model car because it's in remembrance of his grandfather. That's number one. And when he got the car from his grandmother, after his grandpa passed, he made sure it was okay to do what he's doing with his license plate through the Secretary of State. He asked the Secretary of State if I could keep this plate on, and if I had a problem, to show the one I have registered. So that's a confusion number one. We have the dismissal papers on the first issue in July. He said January. I think it was because he was nervous. But it happened in July. I think July might have been a bad month for everybody. From the sounds of it, it turned out to be garbage, you know. But we just want to address that. You know, he works. He's not out here bouncing around doing things that other people are getting away with. And that's beside the point. He goes to work and comes home, and that's it. He goes up to Speedway and back home. That's his agenda. And, you know, we just feel he's being harassed about a simple license plate issue, that he has a current valid license and license plate for the vehicle. He's never not had a current valid license or license plate for the vehicle. He had wrote a letter to Secretary of State explaining the issue to them, and, you know, they gave us a couple pointers what to do, but that was today, he received a letter from them. We showed up the day of the second term of the tickets that we haven't got a chance to dismiss yet over the issue, but the problem is, when they pulled them over the second time, they're violating court order on a dismissal. That's what happened. And, you know, if we were going to violate a court order, guns blazing, you know what I mean? So the partiality is clear here, and we're not coming for trouble. We're coming for it to stop. And we want, you know, I've been a resident in and out of this city for 35 years and haven't had to come here. You know, I've had issues, all victimless crimes. I've never violated someone's rights, ever. I don't steal. I've never stole. He was raised right. He don't steal. He don't need to sell drugs to make a living. We don't do that. So,
We need to kind of summarize that,
All
because
right.
that was the time limit.
but I want to address the fact we have an open issue on a case that's already been dismissed, and we want it addressed through the city whenever possible.
And I missed it, the city clerk, did you state your name and address for the clerk?
Yeah, Kenny's dad, I live at the
Same
264
address?
Winchester Street.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys and your time, and I.
You bet.
Empty house is a good sign.
Thank you. Go ahead and close public comment, and we'll move on to the manager's report with City Manager Zelnok. We'll wait just a minute, Paul, so that City Clerk Deaton is ready. We're good? Okay. City Manager Zelnick.
Few items I want to update council on. The road improvement projects continue. They're finishing off the Eagle Point subdivision paving work on the driveways this week. Brookfield pavement removal has been completed on the east side of Brookfield Drive, and paving of the east is scheduled for the 20th and 21st with 20th and 21st with the follow-up removal of the paving on the west side of Brookfield Drive in the following weeks. The 2023-24 audit will be presented at our next meeting on October 14th. I provided each of you a copy of the audit within your packet today that we received. Item regarding Historical Village. I was approached by Jeff Heineman from Heineman Engineering about a possible donation of air conditioning units and furnaces to the city for the Witch's Hat Museum and the Freight House. He's working with Train to donate those particular items to the city. We would have to pay for installation charges. I'm working on final details regarding cost and the potential for that, because this was not a budgeted item for this year, but we would take an advantage of a possible donation cost of over $10,000 to actually have those installed in our buildings at the Witch's Hat Museum and the Freight House. The Eagle Scout project, I met with a resident who was working with the Eagle Scout project. They had chosen to repair and upgrade the volleyball courts at Volunteer Park. We're working on the details for that, but he has selected that particular item as the improvements, and they'd like to actually do that next week. I also appreciate, as far as Andrew and Sam coming from Priority Waste, we've been having discussions with the other RSOC communities over the last couple months to try to get questions and things answered that we've had problems with, not only in our community, but it's been very similar to the other communities that are represented within the area. I know we've tried to get some answers, and we finally got those answers, as I mentioned early in the meeting, just last Thursday, regarding specific questions that we're all trying to deal with. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that council members may have on this subject or anything else.
Any questions for the city manager? Councilmember Kibble? No, that's not your hand up, my apologies. No. Councilmember Bogert?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was driving down Pontiac Trail the other day, and I noticed a pile of tree limbs by the side entrance at Millennium. I don't know if it's the responsibility of the property owner or the city.
Where is this location again? I'm sorry.
Pontiac Trail by the side entrance of Millennium.
Okay. I will check on that.
Any other questions for the city manager?
I don't think so.
Very good. Thank you, Paul.
Thanks.
Move on to council comments, and we'll start with Councilmember Kurtzwell this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Too bad that the people from Priority left, because actually, I wanted to thank them and RSOC for a great experience that I had with them today. RSOC is our recycler for hazardous materials. I will not be able to make their next scheduled date. I believe it's October 4th. And the woman, I left a message at RSOC in the morning, and within 10 minutes, they called me back. Got excellent service. She just wanted to know where I was living. I told her South Lyon. She said, well, you're a member of RSOC, and guess what? We have actually drop-offs Monday through Friday from 9 until 5 at our yard in Livonia. It's off of Merriman. So I was able to go over to their yard today and drop off the hazardous waste materials that I had. I'm still on the need to clean out the garage. I think we're 18 months into it. But anyway, that's another story. So those items that came out of the garage that were hazardous were able to get delivered today. The woman that met me at the building, she was great. Took all the products, she checked it out, she checked my name. They do check your address when you go, but I just thought people might want to know they have a Monday through Friday drop-off to make it convenient for the residents. So thank you, RSOC, for a great service. And last, I can hardly wait for October 24th, which is the downtown trick-or-treat, which will draw about 3,000 people to the city of South Lyon. And at that same night, we will have probably one of my most favorite events is the Pup Paw Parade. It is just so great to see all the furry animals that are there in their costumes. It's just a great night. So please, this starts a huge weekend for South Lyon, and it goes right into the end of October. So don't forget, October is right around the corner. October 24th, downtown treat with the Pup Parade. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Kurtzwell. Councilmember Kivel.
Was just kind of walking around and there, where the chalk wall was put in. I was kind of concerned because I had seen the fencing and stuff that's around there right now, and so I had come to City Hall and wanted to ask Paul what was going on, and as it happened, the guy that's in charge of that project apparently didn't know that, they had some more stuff to do, and so that'll end up being taken care of. So I'm hoping that turns around pretty quick. It's going to end up being a really cool thing to go through there, but nonetheless, it's with the orange snow fence there, it's not quite the natural beauty that you're looking for. And downtown, I was surprised to see, and it sounds kind of interesting, and I'm looking forward to it simply to get the theater is going to have church on Sundays, and I'd rather have somebody going in and out of that thing rather than just seeing this building sitting idle. So I think that could end up being some kind of interesting as well. Save for that, I really don't have anything else, so.
Okay. Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Bogert.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I'd like to extend my congratulations to Councilmember Hanson and his wife Marie for their new baby boy, Riker. South Lyon Live, which is happening during Pumpkin Fest weekend, which is this coming weekend, still needs volunteers. Pumpkin Fest still needs volunteers. It's a great way to show support for our community. Thank you.
Councilmember Mosier.
Well, not to sound redundant,
Please
but
do.
we still need volunteers for Pumpkin Fest and South Lyon Live. If you come downtown, well, you should come downtown anyway, but we could use some help. It's going to be a great weekend. Great family atmosphere during the day, adult time at night. It's going to be great, so I hope to see everybody there. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. I just want to remind everyone tonight that the last Lake Street Cruise-In will take place this Wednesday, and that it starts earlier at 4:30 this week, so make plans to come downtown, have dinner, and check out some great classic cars. And finally, just a reminder that Pontiac Trail will be closed next Monday, starting at 8 a.m. for a culvert replacement underneath Pontiac Trail. The work will take place from just north of Maple Drive, which is near Pinn's Bowling. Through traffic on Pontiac Trail will be rerouted to Martindale to go north and south. So it'll be a little inconvenient. They should get it done in the same day, but just be prepared that you will not be able to go straight down Pontiac Trail after 8 o'clock on Monday morning. And with that,
Mr. Mayor, could I ask for, I had overlooked one thing that I'd
Sure,
like to
go
end
right
up
ahead.
making clear. Can you reach out to RCOC, at the light at going to Sayre? There's the trench where they put some of the electrical or something in there needs to end up getting, picked up so that it's not a bump every time you go over that thing. I'm not certain how long it would take them to do that, but it shouldn't be a big deal. Thank you, I'm sorry.
No problem.
Should have remembered that.
And with that, I'll look for a motion to adjourn in a second. Councilmember Kurtzwell,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Move to adjourn.
Second?
very good. We'll see you on October 14th.